Hello everyone, this is video 3 in our series about creating a basic platformer in Unity. In this video we're going to go ahead and do just a little bit of code to set up our player to be able to jump. A lot of this is handled by the character controller 2D script that we took from online that was based upon the Unity 2D character controller that they provide you for free in the asset store. Okay. What I want to do with this video is go ahead and set up the character to be able to jump, but also go ahead and show you some of the things that we did and how some of the variables work inside of our current player setup so that you can see how you can change them and modify them. Things like the slippery material, the jump force, air control, things like that. Now, right now, if you go ahead and press space, nothing's going to happen for your player, but left and right arrow keys and A and D should go ahead and move them left to right. And our player can fall down here. There's no way for them to get out of here. They're stuck, that's it. So they need to be able to jump. So what we're going to do is we're going to modify our code here to go ahead and do some stuff based upon the character controller 2D script that we have. This is the first thing we need to do is set a couple booleans here. Right? Now we're going to do boolean jump flag equals false, and we need a boolean jump equals false. Okay? Now the flag is basically, make sure you spell that correctly. We've got the flag that's going to go ahead and act as our way to say, like, are we jumping? Have we already started jumping? And jump is to literally say, yes, we jump. Now we are not jumping. So let's go ahead and down here in our update method, which, as I explained in the last video, is great for going in and checking inputs and for updating values. We're going to go ahead and first we're going to check the jump flag. Okay? Now if jump flag is true, we immediately want to jump it back down to false. Okay? They've jumped, we've gone ahead and gone through one update, so we know that we've already gone ahead and triggered whatever our jump code is. So we can go ahead and say, all right, it's been triggered. We've already jumped. Turn off jump flag. Now we're going to go ahead and we're going to check input. Now, unlike with moving left and right where we need to see, hey, did the player go ahead and press the left direction or the right direction, getting the actual inputs for horizontal, we literally just want to go ahead and know, did they press down on a particular button? And in this case, jump. This is another one of those groups that's built into Unity. Jump is associated with the spacebar, and on the controller, if you were using a controller like an Xbox or PS4 controller, I believe it's the A key, or A button. But either way, input.getButtonDown is going to go ahead and check the jump keys, which in our case would be the spacebar, to see did you press it down. And if you did, we're going to set jump to true. And down here in fixed update, if jump, which can be interpreted as if jump is true, set the jump flag to true. Okay? We know that the player pressed the spacebar to jump, setting jump to true. We then want to flag that, okay, we are jumping. We need to go ahead and make sure that we only jump once. We go back here and in the update method you can see, all right, was jump flag true? Yeah, go ahead and now set it false. Okay. Now this all again has to do with the character controller. Some of this is a black box, some of it will have to do with our animations, but for now the key one to know is that when you press the space bar, we go ahead and give a signal to the character controller code to say, yeah, let's jump. Now, as a side note here, some people may be wondering, why would you use a character controller? Why would you use code written by somebody else, especially if you don't fully understand what's going on? It's not a complicated script. You could go ahead and open it up here in Visual Studio and view it. You can, things like these, you don't need to worry about serialized field and all that. The variables are still variables, just as you know and love them. And there's lots of comments in this file explaining what's going on. But all this does is go ahead and take care of some of the more common things that why would you want to write the code twice when it's already been written for you? Why do it again? And that's one of the the things about Unity that Unity provides up front that they want you to make use of. The fact that you can share code between games, between other people. There's only so many ways to skin the cat in this case. So it makes sense to go ahead and use something that's built in or provided to you and has already been tested and takes care of a lot of the tedious stuff so you don't have to refigure it out. Now, if we go ahead and test our game, you're going to see that right now you still aren't going to be able to jump. Yeah? And that's by design. We understand that. No? What we need to do next is to go ahead. We need to go ahead and open up the script again. And down here, you saw where we had the controller.move method that goes back to character controller 2D. Well, we went ahead and gave it the movement value, but we hard-coded the third value, jump, to be false. What we want to do here is pass jump, pass whether jump is true or false to the jump variable in the character controller 2D. If you go ahead and save this and then run your game and press space, you'll now be able to jump. Now, right now, if yours is like mine, you're going to have a lot of weird things going on. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to change a couple things here. First of all, let me go ahead and explain some of the different values that you have here. Down here in the character controller 2D, we talked about a little bit before how we have jump force. Now, jump force is how much force is going to be applied when you press the space bar. Right now it's 400. That caused us to jump pretty high, actually. If you were to go ahead and lower this to, say, 100 and then run the game, we should jump not nearly as high. We're still going to bounce continuously because that's something we need to fix, but the jump force is literally determining how much force is behind our jump. I'm going to go ahead and set that to 300 for now. Now, air control. Let's go ahead and jump. Now I can go ahead and press left and right on my keyboard, and I can move while jumping. If I were to turn off air control, now I can't move. I can press left and right, nothing happens. Turn air control back on, and it works. Now, the reason that our character is jumping over and over again is because we're not really correctly telling him to stop jumping. There's something built into the character controller 2D called onLand event. Now, this will go ahead and it's an event that's fired when you land. Now, if we go down to the onLand event, see that it's a Unity event. It's something that has been created that's special to Unity. We'll go ahead and basically fire when we've landed, when we've hit something. And we can set that by going back over here to the character controller 2D script and looking at onLand event. And right now, nothing happens when we land. What we want to do is in our player movement script, we want to add a new method. We're going to call that method public void onLanding. So when we land, we want something to happen here. And all we're going to do is say jump equals false. Now if you look, at no point did we ever reset jump to false, which is why we keep jumping over and over and over again as soon as we hit the ground. So if you save this, go back into Unity, and with the player selected, go to the character controller 2D script, and in the events onLand event, click the little plus icon. Change it to editor and runtime so that you can test this when actually running the game. And for an object, go ahead and drag the player movement script up onto the events under character controller 2D. So I grab player movement and drag it up here. And now I can look at the functions I have. One of those is if I look over game object, or rather player movement, go to the player movement, you will see that the onLanding function we created is right there. If you select it, now when the on-land event is fired by the character controller 2D, it will call the on-landing function in player movement and set jump to false. Yay, now we jump. You'll also notice that he now jumps very, very shorter. Okay, that's because the jump command isn't firing 100 times. If we were to change jump force back to 700, works a bit better. All right. Now, here's something else I want you guys to look at. Notice how you'll see that I kind of slide off backwards there. Okay. That is because of two things. First, because I have I have circle colliders on my player. Okay? So I'm literally sliding along the side of the circle. Okay? And I'm not getting caught. I also can't go ahead and in midair press against that box and kind of hang on to the side. Go ahead and stop running the game and go to your scene. I'm going to go ahead and set my jump force back to, I'm going to set it to 400 just so I have a little bit more control. And I'm going to go up here to my colliders. And I'm going to remove from both of them the slippery material. You don't need to do this. This is just me showing you an example of something here. I go back over and I jump. Now I can go ahead and while pressing to the right and holding down pressing to the right, I can jump against this box and get myself stuck against the box. That can go ahead and allow your player to do some stuff you don't want them to, but more so it really just creates a bad experience. It doesn't look good. That's the importance of the slippery material. It makes it so that the player has no friction. They can't go ahead and hang on to something. They'll slide off of it. So I'm going to put that slippery material back onto my colliders. Now at this point you should be able to go ahead and move left to right. You should be able to jump. You should have a basic understanding of what all this is and what's going on with this script. Okay? And you have a little bit more information about the slippery material, the slippery physics 2D material, and why we use it. Next up, we are going to go ahead and we are going to work on setting animations for the player as they go ahead and sit idle, as they jump, and as they run.